Beyond every illusion lies a deeper truth. Welcome to Beyond the Illusion with the R-TisT-O. Welcome to Season 1 finale. This is the R-TisT-O with Beyond the Illusion. The wonder behind the illusion. Magic is strange, not because things disappear, but because of what remains. A moment, a feeling, a memory, sometimes decades later. Welcome to Beyond the Illusion with the R-TisT-O. I'm your host, the R-TisT-O, the artist Obaid. And tonight, we look back. When I started this podcast, I wasn't trying to expose magic. I wasn't trying to become the next famous illusionist. And honestly, I wasn't even trying to teach tricks. I was trying to preserve a feeling many magicians remember, but very few talk about. That feeling of discovering magic for the very first time. The feeling of not knowing, the feeling of wonder. Before social media, before instant tutorials, before every illusion was slowed down frame by frame online, back when mystery still had time to breathe. And maybe that's why I created Beyond the Illusion, not to teach secrets, but to remind people what magic felt like before the world became obsessed with explanations. You know, most magicians never forget their first real moment of wonder. Not just seeing a trick, but feeling impossible thoughts enter their minds. For some people, it was a card trick at school. For others, a magician on television. For me, magic became something bigger. It became memories, late nights watching recorded VHS tapes, pausing television specials, rewinding illusions over and over again, trying to understand something that maybe wasn't meant to be understood. And honestly, sometimes the tracking on the VHS tapes was so bad, you could barely even see the illusion, but somehow that made it feel even more mysterious. If you grew up during that era, you understand. You didn't have instant access to answers. You had curiosity, and curiosity is powerful. One thing this season reminded me of is how deep the world of magic really is. How big is magic? Imagine a jar the size of a small school bus filled to the top with tiny grains of sand. Every grain represents a trick, an illusion, a secret, or even a story passed from one magician to another. Each grain by itself seems small, but together they create something impossible to count. That's magic. And the more I studied old books, old magazines, and forgotten performers, the more I realized we are only seeing a tiny piece of something much larger. This season, we talked about the golden age of magic, an era where magicians traveled city to city, where vaudeville theaters were filled with mystery, where performers protected secrets like treasure. And maybe that's why old magic feels different, because back then, illusion wasn't just another reel on a social media or a click, it was experience. One of my favorite things we explored this season was how difficult magic used to be to learn. Today, someone sees a trick online, and 5 minutes later, they're searching for the secret. But years ago, um, you had to search for magic. You had to visit bookstores, magic shops, libraries. You had to order VHS tapes, wait weeks for catalogs to ship your trick. You save money for one single trick, and sometimes the trick disappointed you. I remember a good uh, time ago when I was like in third grade. We had a substitute teacher. I still remember his name. His name was Mr. B, and he used to do magic tricks. And one time he called me up to the front of the class. He had me hold a scarf that he placed and tied a knot basically, and told me to hold it between my two hands and watch how the knot disappears. He pulls it and the knot disappeared. And that really amazed me. And thankfully, he was the first person that actually not showed me the trick, because my first trick that I was showed was at the store with my brother, where a quarter just appeared from my ears. But the one in the classroom, Mr. B, directed me to the library, told me to go look by the jokes section. There's games and jokes. There's always books on magic tricks. And that's where I got the idea of, wow, you can actually learn magic tricks from reading books. But somehow, even disappointment become part of the journey, because magic wasn't only about fooling people. It was about imagination, patience, discovery. And I think something important was lost when mystery became instant. Um, after all these episodes, I realized something. Magic tricks are actually the smallest part of magic. The real illusion is attention, it's emotion, it's memory, it's psychology. A magician can make a coin disappear, but years later, people don't remember the coin, they remember how they felt. That's the true illusion. And honestly, I think life itself works the same way. We choose jobs, money, followers, views, fame, but in the end, what people truly remember are feelings, a conversation, a memory, a moment of wonder, a moment where reality felt larger than itself. And maybe that's why magic never truly dies. One thing I'm grateful for is discovering old magic literature, books from another era, voices from magicians long gone, still speaking through pages. Some books were written over 100 years ago, and yet their words still feel alive. One magician wrote, "Always surround your act with mystery. Leave them guessing." And honestly, that sentence may summarize this entire season, because mystery matters, not just in magic, but in life. When everything becomes instantly explained, wonder disappears. When I first created this podcast, I didn't know where it would go, but episodes by episodes, it became more than a show. It became a reflection of childhood memories, lost dreams, old stories, and the strange beauty of still believing in wonder. And maybe that's why I and every episode the same way, create your legacy, because eventually the tricks end, The curtain closes, the lights go dark, the audience leaves, but stories remain. A memory can outlive the magician, and maybe that's the greatest illusion of all. This may be the end of season one, but the journey continues. In season two, we travel deeper into the history of magic, into the era before YouTube, before social media, before instant exposure. We'll talk about VHS tapes, magic shops, old catalogs, classic performers, and what it truly felt like to learn magic the hard way. And maybe together we can preserve something modern entertainment is slowly losing, the feeling of wonder. This is Beyond the Illusion with the R-TisT-O. Thank you for listening. And remember, magic is not always about making something disappear. Sometimes it's about making people feel something they never want to lose. And remember, create your legacy. This is Beyond the Illusion with the R-TisT-O. And remember, long after the illusion fades, what remains is the legacy we leave behind. Create your legacy.